What is up, guys? This is Quintraplex bringing you another episode of Destiny 101. In this episode I will be covering the multiplayer aspect of the beta so far. I recently did the first episode, which was single player, and the MMO aspect of it, and in this episode I will be covering the PvP, or player versus player. To just put it into simple words, it's pretty much like Call of Duty and Halo combined. I know people toss around those terms like, oh, it's this game and this game combined, but I really think this game really masters the strengths of both those games, and it's really refreshing. In this game it's cool because the weapons and gear that you get from single player, from looting, and from doing all the quests, always carry over to multiplayer. But none of the guns are overpowered because they have this thing where it auto-balances every gun when you're in a lobby. So it looks like it seems as if no guns are overpowered, but some do a little bit more damage than others. In this, they have vehicles. The vehicles are a lot like Halo. They're like a third-person reticle shooter. They're pretty much exactly like Halo. There's a gun called the Pike, which is almost exactly like the Ghost. And there's an Interceptor, which is kind of like a Scorpion tank. That's a little bit overpowered. It's very fun in the vehicles. You can also have your own speeder if you're on larger maps that have the vehicles to carry you around really quickly, even if you don't have access to a vehicle. There is a little thing though that the gravity feels extremely low on all of the maps. I'm not sure if they change because they take place on different planets like the Moon, Earth, there's one on Venus. I haven't seen one on Mars yet, but I'm guessing that's coming soon. In this game, headshots have a 3x multiplayer, just like in the just like in the single player campaign. So it's kind of like Halo, where if somebody shoots you first, it doesn't mean that they're going to win the gunfight like it's in COD. In this game, if they shoot you first and you can get more headshots than them, then that really wins the firefights. The time to kill seems very, very high, so the gunfights can last very, very often if they're not using something like a sniper or a shotgun. It can be very, very long and drawn out battle. All of your levels and abilities carry over from single player as well, so you look just as awesome as you do in the single player as you do in multiplayer. You can see in this gameplay I'm using the starting assault rifle, and I'm doing pretty good because it has low recoil and it is very easy for me to hit those headshots, which are pretty much an essential part if you want to be decent to good at this game. You get abilities from different gear, like you can reload scout rifles quicker with a certain pair of gauntlets, and helmets give you 10% grenade cooldown if you melee somebody or something like that. That's really cool what each of the gear does. The maps, I believe I played 3 of them. There's one on the Moon, there's one on Venus, and there's one on Earth. The Moon one is okay. The Venus one, which is the one I'm playing on right now, is fantastic. It's up to par with some of the best Halo maps like Guardian or what's it called? Hang 'em High. It's really fun, and the movement feels kind of slow, but it's kind of like a Bungie game, like Halo game, I mean. But the Earth map just feels a little bland. It just looks kind of muddy, while the other maps look very cool. Also, another really cool part of the multiplayer is that each map has a couple different game types. On the Moon, it's almost always nighttime, I guess, since there's no atmosphere and change of weather. But on Venus, I've noticed one where it's in the evening, when it's in the morning, when it's raining. It's really cool. I've only played on the Earth map twice, and both times it's been in the sun, but I really hope that they have changing game modes, not game modes, changing environments from match to match. It really adds a new feel to each map with all the different lighting and the texture effects. It's really, really cool. Like I said, the gravity feels low, but maybe that's just because you can double jump and you can jetpack and you can, what's it called? I think the Warlock can glide. And I've reached the level cap for each of the 3 classes. And I have to say, Bungie has done a fantastic job at balancing all 3 of these classes. The Titan really feels like a tank. The Warlock feels like a mage, sorta. The Nova Bomb is awesome, but I think the what's it called? The Titan Smash ability? I don't know what it's called, but the Titan Smash ability is crazy good. I think a lot of people underestimated the Titan just because it didn't sound that interesting, but it is probably the best one, in my opinion. But I guess I'll talk about the classes for the rest of it. The Hunter is probably the most boring class, but probably the most effective. You get a regular grenade, you get a throwing knife, which is boring, we've seen that in a couple of games before. And then you get a golden gun, which is just a one-shot kill weapon in multiplayer and really high damage in single player. It's probably the most effective. Oh yeah, and it can double jump, which is probably the best double jump ability or gravity ability that any of the classes have. But it's not that fun. It's kind of like your regular shooter, but in Destiny or in Halo-ish. Whereas the Warlock feels like a real mage, where you're casting spells and you're throwing out Nova Bombs and you have a super punch ability. And the Titan feels like a real tank that just can smash everything and can punch things to death. And the Flashbang Grenade is the first ability you get as the Titan. The grenade totally sucks, which I guess is the downside of it. The grenade in single player, it's not too bad, but in multiplayer, it barely affects anybody at all. I'm not sure if it even does any damage, but I think I've gotten flashbanged once by my own grenade. Maybe that's just because nobody's playing the Titan class or whatever, but I don't know. This video is about to come to a close, guys, so that's about it for this episode. I'm just gonna let the gameplay run out for this one. I'm not sure if I'll be doing any more Destiny 101 before the launch of the game. I might be doing a little bit analysis of each of the classes a little bit more in depth, but I think I covered it in this video. I'm not sure, guys. If you want to have a little bit more Destiny 101 before the game comes out, I've got a little bit more gameplay. So, yeah, that's about it, guys.